Welcome to the Sun River Anglers Fly Tying Corner for this month. I'm going to tie a CalliKlink, and this fly was invented out of necessity. I've been fishing East Lake quite a bit this spring and early summer and fishing the Callibaetis hatches, and have had a few days when it's been a little bit more than frustrating. Those fish want a fly that the abdomen is piercing the water's surface. And gradually it dawned on me that I needed to create a fly that imitated this very effect. And so this is essentially an emergent Callibaetis mayfly designed for the hatches on East Lake. The abdomen is coated with UV resin, and it will pierce the surface of the water. The hackle provides support, and the fly looks like it's emerging, and so that's a trigger for hungry trout. This fly is tied Klinkhammer style, and the name is a blend of Callibaetis, Klinkhammer, CalliKlink. Give this one a try. I think you'll like it. It catches those tough to catch rainbows up on East Lake. So let's review the materials for this fly. I'll cover them one by one to give you a perspective on why I chose each material. For the hook, I'm going to use a Firehole 317, size 14 to 16. This is a competition barbless Klinkhammer style hook that I like for this pattern. For the thread, I've got a Vivas 14 or 16/aught black or gray that I like for this pattern. For the wing, I'm going to use natural white-tailed deer, and I'm going to choose deer hair that has characteristics of control hair. In other words, it does not flare a lot. I want this to remain as an upright wing. For the abdomen, I'm going to take a peacock barb, and I'm going to take this right out of the eye of a peacock tail feather, and I'm going to strip all the little barbules off it, leaving a nice stripped quill that I can wind on the fly. For the thorax, I'm going to felt together some Callibaetis ice dub, probably about 25%, and some Callibaetis superfine, about 75%. And I'll felt that together in my fingers and blend it to create the thorax on this pattern. And lastly, for a hackle, I'm using whiting dry fly saddles in a grizzly dyed dun. So let's get started on this pattern. I've tied on my thread at the 2/3 point of the hook, and I'm going to go ahead and clip off some deer hair, stack it, and I'm going to tie it in right at that wing set position, and then tie back over the butts. And once I've done that, I'm going to position my scissors at a 45-degree angle over the butts and clip those off at an angle so that I got a nice clean taper on the body of this fly. So let me wind over the butts and create that nice clean taper. So now let me pull on the wing fibers, pull those back, and I'm going to wind the thread very tightly in front of it to set the wing upright. And then I'll go ahead and post that wing with a number of wraps around the deer hair to collect the wing together and set it upright, ready for the hackle as at the last step of this pattern. So next, I'm going to clip out a barb or two out of the center of the peacock eye, and I chose this specifically because it's got the most coloration in it when we create a stripped quill. So now I'll take that quill that I've cut off, and I'm going to use a soft artist's eraser, and I'm basically going to erase off the quill all the little fuzz or the barbules. That's hence the name stripped quill. I'm just removing all the little fuzz off this quill to create a nice barb that I can tie on the fly and build the abdomen for this pattern. So now let me tie in this peacock barb right at the back of that taper and wind it all the way back to a little ways down the hook. And then I'll wind my thread back up to the wing set position and attach my hackle pliers to this peacock barb and wind it all the way up to the wing set position and tie it off and get ready for a UV finish. So I'm using Solariz fly tying UV resin, the thin bone dry, and I'm going to coat the quill with just a layer of bone dry, and then I'll go ahead and cure it with my UV light, and it finishes to a very nice hard finish. The thin hard finish on the abdomen will allow this fly to pierce the water surface and extend down subsurface where we want it to make this fly fish right. So next I will felt together some of my Callibaetis UV ice dub in the superfine, and then I'll dub that onto the thread. I'll spin it onto the thread, capture a little bit, and then spin it nice and tight and tie that in at the thorax or the behind the wing. Once I've done that, I'm going to use that dubbing to capture my hackle right in front of the wing and go ahead and wind that up and finish the thorax of this pattern. So I'll immediately start winding the hackle, and I'll wind each wrap underneath the preceding wrap, and I'll take about 4 to 5 wraps of hackle around this wing and tie that off right at the head and cut off the excess. If I've got any barbs that are stray, I can take a moment or two at this point and clean those up, and I should have a nice looking hackle at the conclusion of this fly. And let me tie that off and whip finish it with a few winds of thread. Notice I'm winding kind of through and away from the hackle barbs, and those just kind of sweep out of the way to give me a nice clean parachute hackle. So I'm going to take and now torque the wing forward and kick it upright. This fly is supposed to fish with the abdomen below the water surface. So as I push that wing forward, it helps reorient the hackle to allow the abdomen to float lower in the water column. So let me rotate this around in my vise to give you the full perspective of this pattern above and below. So that has been your Sunriver Anglers fly tying corner for this month. I hope you'll give the CalliKlink a try. It's been a good one for me so far this year. And if you like what you see, please subscribe to this page and follow us on Facebook at Sunriver Anglers. Thanks for watching.